Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of What's New Teguh. I'm your host, Chris Teguh with Alpine. Now I know some of you are thinking, man, where's this guy been? Trust me, I've had my hands full. That's okay, nothing a little coffee can't fix. Anyways, I'm really excited to talk about a brand new mini subwoofer amplifier that Alpine just shipped. Now this isn't just like every other subwoofer amplifier. This amplifier actually attaches to the back of our most popular CarPlay Android Auto double-din head unit, the ILX W650. So today we're going to talk about the brand new KTA-200M with PowerStack. Let's check it out. Let's check this thing out. Man, this thing is small. Check that out. That is tiny. So this is the KTA-200M Power Pack mono amplifier. So Power Pack, of course, is something that Alpine coined 10 years ago with the original KTP445A and 445U. Basically, they invented the mini amp category, which is pretty amazing. So this particular Power Pack is a mono, which means it's suitable for subwoofer systems. As you can see, it's rated at 200 watts RMS by 1 at both 4 ohm or 2 ohm, which makes it particularly good when you are trying to select what type of subwoofer it works with. Now, one thing not mentioned on the box is an exclusive Alpine technology called DPP, which stands for Dynamic Peak Power. That allows this amplifier, which is 200 watts, to perform more like a 400 watt amplifier during dynamic parts of your music. So there's a lot of tech actually built in this amp to really make it pack a punch when it needs to. All right, let's take a look at what comes in the box. All right, so here's everything included. Obviously, there's our amp. This little packet has our warranty information along with the installation guide. We include some zip ties to help you with the wire management. Here's the harness, which includes 14 gauge power. That does need to be run to the battery. There's also 14 gauge subwoofer outputs. One's brown, the other's brown with a black stripe, which is negative. We have the phone jack here for the external volume knob. So if you want to hook up a Rux knob or a Halo knob, this will allow you to do that. There's male RCAs there that can plug directly to a 650 to get signal. Of course, if you're mounting this somewhere else in the vehicle, you may have to run a barrel connector to turn that into a female RCA port. Here's our two brackets that are included in the box. There's a universal bracket here that gets mounted to the sides of the amp. That allows you to mount it directly to a surface like a subwoofer box or underneath a seat or behind a panel of some sort. Here's some hardware included. And finally, this is the PowerStack bracket. Let's talk about PowerStack real quick. A couple years ago, we launched this wildly popular radio, the ILX W650. This radio allowed you to add CarPlay and Android Auto to your car. The unique thing about this is we did not include the seating mechanism, which allowed us to make the chassis this shallow. Now, looking at this radio, we thought, wouldn't it be great if we took advantage of that space? And that's what we did with PowerStack amplifiers. Now you can add these modules to this radio and basically create a very high-powered radio with 50 watts per channel, or a radio with built-in subwoofer power. So in order to get these two components to mount together, we had to come up with a bracket that allowed that to happen. And that's where this comes into play. So this bracket looks ordinary, but a lot of engineering had to go into making this right. Let me show you how it works. So the bracket is simply mounted to the amplifier like this. We use 4 3mm hex screws to attach the bracket. There's a pass-through hole in the bracket which allows me to put this harness straight through and plug it into the amp before we get started. Once that's in, it's just a matter of putting the screws in. And there you have it. You have it mounted. So now that we have the bracket attached to the amplifier, we're going to go ahead and prep the radio to stack this amplifier to it. So on this radio, you'll see 2 screws at the bottom of the chassis. Those 2 screws need to be removed first. Once the screws are removed, you just need to take the PowerStack bracket and slip it into the slot that you see at the top of the radio. Then it swings down and the screws line up at the bottom. You're going to be using 2 screws that are included inside the baggie. These are actually longer than the factory ones. Once you screw that in, you're all done. And there's PowerStack. So the unique thing about PowerStack is we designed it so that it installs like a standard double DIN would once they're combined. As you can see, the wires are actually tucked in there, right, to stay away from the actual double DIN bracket once it's installed. We recessed the port on the amplifier so that there's no added stress on those cables when they're curved in. We lifted up the amplifier on this bracket so that the wires can tuck in underneath the amp. So the wires on the radio, USB, and the harness can slip under there as well. Joints are then made behind the radio just like a standard radio would. You're going to want to run power to the battery because it's a 20 amp fuse required on that cable. And now that your subwoofer wires are where your head unit is, you'll have to run that to wherever your subwoofer is. Alright, let's go over the settings that you can find on this amp. It's pretty simple. There's 2. There's a crossover, which is a low pass filter. There's 4 positions it can be set to: off, 60 Hz, 80 Hz, or 120 Hz. Those are controlled by dip switches that can be positioned in 4 different ways. And on the right is your gain. So this amp has a clever circuit that's integrated called a voltage adapting circuit. What this circuit does is limits the amount of input that the amplifier sees so that it never overdrives or goes into protection mode, which allows you to get clean, reliable bass no matter where you set that gain to. So that's just something to think about as you tune the gain on this amplifier. The higher you have it set, basically the amplifier will get to that maximum output level faster as you turn the volume up on the radio. Now the last piece of the PowerStack puzzle is what sub it works with. So we know the KTA-200M is capable of 200 watts RMS by 1 or 400 watt DPP. That puts a handful of subwoofers within that range of compatibility. First is our S series 10 and 12. Next is our base series subwoofers in 10 and 12. We also have our truck subs, which are a little bit more shallow but are available in 10 as well. And finally, our S series and R series 8-inch woofers will work as well. But if you really want the best matched subwoofer for the new KTA-200M, look no further than our Halo preloaded enclosure in S, 10, and 12. These 2 paired together sound absolutely phenomenal. You have to check it out for yourself. Well, there you have it, guys, the brand new KTA-200M Power Pack Mono with PowerStack and DPP. Be sure to head to your nearest authorized dealer to check this amp out. It's a very simple way to add bass to your car. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Alpine Teguh and Alpine TV for future videos. Alpine Teguh signing off. Stay safe out there and be sure to check in next time for what's new.